get videos up on our YouTube channel after every pick that the Browns make and give you a little background, little context into who they are. So make sure you guys, if you're not already a subscriber, hit the subscribe button so you guys get that immediate content as soon as we put it up. We're going to talk big picture NFL draft stuff from the first round in one sec, but a quick reminder that it is playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball is in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs and slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Kirk Cousins thought he was Atlanta's #1 quarterback until the 8th pick of the draft came around last night. And Atlanta selected Michael Penix with the 8th overall pick.
8th? I thought it was 9.
No, the Bears took Rome Odunze 9th.
Yeah.
Penix was 8th. Not that it makes a difference.
Crazy.
Jason doesn't like the pick anymore.
Now I hate it now.
You guys started to get into it early.
We've got to start with Jason because he said he didn't hate the pick.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jason, I'm surprised.
By the way, this is the organization that said we're good to Bill Belichick.
If I'm Kirk Cousins, I hate the pick. He has every reason to be pissed.
He better hate it.
Because he just signed on for $100 million, and I'm sure he thought they was going to get a weapon or they were going to give something to help him at that spot. But if you're the Falcons, that is actually really funny. But it's not like the owner didn't know what they were going to do. But if you're the Falcons, Kirk Cousins is a Band-Aid. He's not a solution. He's a 1 or 2 year issue. And the hope is you're not drafting in the top 10 if Kirk Cousins is your quarterback. This is your last chance. Now, I don't love the pick of Penix, but you have to trust your scouting department. Like, you have these guys in position for a reason. And if your GM is saying this is the guy we want, but the idea of taking a quarterback, I don't hate there because this is probably, if you do this right, this is your last chance drafting in the top 10. And how much longer does Kirk Cousins have? So you don't want to be
35.
Yeah, you don't. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to be in the position of you're at 23, 24 in a year or two, and you're trying to trade up. You know how expensive that is to get up in the top 10 to get your guy. So I'm not saying like I predicted before the draft. Like no one saw it coming.
Nobody.
But I don't hate it because this is theoretically this should be your last time in the top 10, and this is your last chance to get a franchise-type quarterback because Cousins is probably only going to be there. Well, now he's probably going to be there a year. But even at the best-case scenario, how long does he really have left?
Dang, bro. Like,
you just signed him to a 4-year, $180 million deal.
That doesn't
guaranteed
mean
$100
million of it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
And if he's there a year,
that's
$100 million for a bridge quarterback.
I would love to. Oh, I know.
Go get Joe Flacco for $7 million.
Look, the owner was sitting there. He looking like, listen, I know I got a bunch
that
of
video's priceless.
I got a bunch of
Arthur Blank is literally looking at him like
what?
If I wasn't on camera right now, I would be firing you.
Well, but he had to know. You don't make that pick without telling the owner.
I thought the same thing. I did. I swear I thought, well, Blank had to be in on that. But that conversation, that tweet is 10,000% right. That posturing with Blank, both hands in his pockets,
he's pissed.
not saying a word, and the way Fontenot's going. That's what you know.
Carry the
what?
one.
That's what I looked like when I got home at 12:30 with the 12 o'clock curfew. Mom, I ran out of gas. The gas station that I went to was closed. I had to push my car to another gas station, and my mom had her hands in her pockets.
What NFL owner does not know what you're doing with a top 10 pick?
But
it doesn't exist.
It
does.
Though, like
yes.
that's exactly what he's saying?
It does, but I can't believe
and
that
Arthur Blank is involved.
Very much so.
But he's also been notorious with Rich McKay. To say, look, I hired you for a reason.
Yes.
You do what you do.
But it's not like Arthur Blank was laying in bed and the Falcons said, Michael Penix, and he threw his suit on.
Honey, get my red jacket. I'm hot.
And went racing down to the facility. Like, he knew.
I would love to hear, I would really, you'd have to have been a fly on the wall. Because Arthur Blank he's going to put on a face of complete, we were in lockstep with one another.
Well, He's not even going to talk again probably until the owners' meetings next March. It'll be a non-story.
And by then he'll cool down.
Yeah.
But that tweet was very funny.
It was hysterical.
I mean, they got Pitts. They got London.
They've got pieces.
They got the running back, old boy from
Bijan Robinson.
They got some pieces and parts. But Jay, listen, his conservative. Listen, Hey, you got it on this one. I'm Project Stockpile. I stockpile everything. Quarterbacks, Big Macs, all kind of everything. We stockpiling, but this is crazy.
I think what he was saying,
he could have got $6 million. He could have got a bridge guy, Jay.
Here's what I would want to explain to me if I'm the owner.
That's fair.
I'm okay with this move in a vacuum without Kirk Cousins. I'm okay with each of these moves alone. But together, you have to explain to me why I'm going to give this dude $100 million. And now, in the Packers case, I think the Packers are a really interesting study through the years. When Brett was not at the end of the rope, still had 4 or 5 years left, they went and drafted Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. When Aaron Rodgers was still early in his career, they drafted Jordan Love.
He wasn't early in his career.
But they took another quarterback between Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers.
Not in the first round, though.
No, not in the first round, but they
Flame.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I think, and the way it's worked out for Green Bay is they have remained at the top of the talent cycle. Yeah. When have the Packers had a 6 and 10?
Yeah, but here's the issue with the Packers, and this is my beef with, not beef, but this is why I just think that pick doesn't make a ton of sense. I understand the premise of what Jason's saying. I do get the fact you're probably not going to be picking the top 10. You're also giving Kirk Cousins $100 million guaranteed, 180 over 4. You can get out of it after 2 years, but his dead cap hit in 2026, year 3, if you want to get rid of him,
you're going to pay him.
Is $25 million on the dead cap. The most valuable part of the rookie quarterback is the rookie quarterback contract.
Dang.
Look at what Houston's doing. Look at what Chicago's now doing with Caleb Williams.
And that time's out, Mike.
And it doesn't make sense to me to have a quarterback who, even if you decide to move on from, you'll be paying $25 million to, which negates the fact your quarterback's
for that 1
making
year,
nothing.
But you still have your rookie quarterback on a rookie deal. So let me just throw something out that this was the closest thing that I could think of when this happened. When the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes, nobody knew he was going to be Patrick Mahomes, but let's face it, this guy had a Michael Penix type career. He had a very, very good college career. I think the Chiefs' thinking at the time was, we're going to let him incubate for a couple of years, and we're going to see where this thing, how far we can go with this, where this ends up taking us. They had a quarterback at the time. Now, they weren't paying him $100 million guaranteed, but they had a quarterback that was making a ton of money. It worked out brilliantly for Kansas City. All of this is forgotten if Michael Penix becomes Aaron Rodgers or he becomes Patrick Mahomes, and ultimately Arthur Blank will tap his GM on the shoulder and say, job well done. However, if it doesn't work out that way, he will open the door for his GM and say, don't let it hit you in the ass.
Absolutely.
So it's a big risk for this GM.
They could have had a doomsday. Can you imagine London and doomsday? And listen, these guys, they could have Pitts. I mean, you're Kirk Cousins. You're sitting there. Oh, I got the second best receiver on the board about to fall to me, right here, because the Bears drafted him right after they were on the clock.
Third best, because Neighbors and Harrison were good.
Okay, right. So you got one of the top 3 receivers on the board, ready to go.
But you still have a 35-year-old quarterback.
And you're licking your chops like, let's go.
Jay, you kind of talked me into it. I don't hate it as much as I did last night.
The difference between Alex Smith and Kirk Cousins, though, is the Chiefs owed Alex Smith $10 million. The Falcons
I know, but
Kirk Cousins $100 million.
So what year did they owe Alex Smith $10 million?
His last year, the year they
drafted
Mahomes.
No, I know, but what year was that? Calendar year.
2017.
Okay, the pay scale for quarterbacks and every other position
hasn't gone up tenfold.
It used to be a great quarterback made $25 million a year at that time.
Sure, now they're making 60, so it's going up 2.5. So okay, pay Kirk Cousins $25 million, and we're in the same pay scale.
Yeah, but here's what I would have done. Is there that big a difference? And answer this honestly, in dollars and cents, between Kirk Cousins and Joe Flacco?
No.
Yes.
No, because you're going to use them as a bridge anyhow. If you're going to take the quarterback.
But Kirk Cousins gives you a better chance to win at a high level.
Okay, so right now. Yeah, but he hasn't done it.
Cousins just had him in the.
Kurt hasn't won him at a high level. Joe Flacco at least has. Joe Flacco took a team that was decimated at that position, flipped their season around, took them to the playoffs.
And lost in the first round.
Kirk Cousins can lose in the first round just as easily.
But, I mean, is there Kirk Cousins is a significantly better quarterback than Joe Flacco.
How much money is Joe Flacco going to make?
$8 million, 8.5, isn't it?
Okay, $8.5 million. What are you going to pay Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins is making $100 million guaranteed over the next 2 seasons.
All right,
Right.
he's not 92 million better.
Okay.
He's not 92
So what
million
I'm
better.
saying is, after watching Joe Flacco do what he did last year,
Yeah.
I don't think the guy's lost a step. I don't. I mean, from when we last saw him. Now, he's not Joe Flacco, Super Bowl Joe
But
Flacco.
also, Flacco
It's
was
$5 million, but I was wrong. Flacco's making $5.
$5 million
but
or $50 million.
Flacco was also terrible for about 3 years, and then he was terrific for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Can't explain it.
But
I don't
he-
know. And
but-
then he was also terrible in the playoff game.
But he was the terribleness of 3 years to me outweighs the greatness of 8
I know,
weeks.
but we're talking about Kirk Cousins.
Hey,
I like Kirk Cousins.
The way this has turned out, Kirk Cousins is a bridge quarterback.
yeah,
And you do not need to spend $50 million
I
a year for a bridge
argue
quarterback.
that. I can't argue that. But I think in the moment, Arthur Blanks is desperate to win. He is like we've had people in Atlanta who say like this guy is obsessed with trying to win.
He hears that clock
by the
tick.
way,
And Cousins gives you a better chance. Now, maybe not a $90 million better chance, but Cousins is a better quarterback than Flacco, gives you a better chance to win in the short term.
I hope
I'm
both
not
play
saying-
next year so we can just look at their
it-
numbers
it
and see where
just
they
goes-
This easily could be a disaster. This whole thing could be a disaster, and everybody could be fired.
You know what
It'll
it
be fine.
was? It was no biscuit, no risk it, no biscuit.
Yeah.
It's all in. We're all in on
yeah.
this move.
Hey, I told y'all, this just proves what I've been saying forever. That money and caps don't matter. They showing you in real time. They gave a man $100 million for like $180 million for 4 years, and then drafted a quarterback.
Well,
That money don't count.
But here's the thing: the quarterback that they drafted is not going to make quarterback money.
But here's the thing:
While Kirk Cousins is on the roster,
they're going to be handing this dude. So basically, you said we got you to be no one who cares about money and is fiscally conservative gives a bridge quarterback $100 million guaranteed. It just doesn't happen like that.
I've never seen it. I've never seen
No,
it.
I don't think we've ever seen it.
And this thing only works out just like the Cleveland Deshaun Watson deal. This thing only works out if they win a Super Bowl. If they don't win a Super Bowl, I just think.
I mean,
the whole thing was
the larger point here is I don't think Penix is the guy.
I don't either, and that's part two of my argument would be. I watched him 3 or 4 times in the regular season last year, and against scrub defenses like all college quarterbacks,
Yeah.
he looked tall, strong, and could do anything. But when he faced off against the Michigan defense, can you call up his numbers against Michigan? I don't remember. I think he might have thrown for a lot of yards because they were behind and he was, but I don't think he had a particularly good game. In fact, I think he threw a lot of picks. And that was an NFL style,
Right.
top-ranked college defense.
Right.
He's
So-
going to see a lot more at the next level.
I don't want to go overboard in defending it. I think I see the logic behind it in that how much it costs you to move up in a draft in future years to try and get to the top 10 to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
We'll see.
255, 1 touchdown, 2 picks against Michigan.
Yeah, not great.
No, it wasn't.